Hello there. How you doing? How's everyone doing today? It's Monday, um, July 28th. We're here to do another Love Me Chit Chat. Myself, Trish Campbell, and my good friend Nadine Searle. So we're just waiting for her to join us, and maybe some people to join us as well. Here she is. Here she is. Hi, Nadine.
Hello, Trish. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, sort of. You know what? That's the standard answer, but you and I both know that we just had a little session right before this that
We did have a little
was a little
catch up.
bit emotional, we'll just say that.
Do you know, and,
But
and we've said one of our chit chats, we did cover that, didn't we? About how
yeah,
when someone asks you how you are, our go to is, I'm fine. And that's all we do. So let's not do that. Let's,
yeah,
share what you want to share. You're right. We just had an emotional moment together before we came live. And
yeah.
yeah, we're not always okay, are we? Sometimes
No,
things have happened, and sometimes, the planets are doing what they're doing and everything. So, yeah, again, just a reminder to everyone that we don't have to be okay when someone asks us. We can be truthful and say, no, we're not, although we do
hmm
say we're fine. We do say we're fine, and everything is fine. But yeah, there's emotions going on, there's things happening in life, and yeah,
yeah.
so we're allowed to feel. So we've had that little moment. We'll talk about what we're going to talk about today, and some of
Mhm.
it will come up, won't it? So
Yeah.
so yeah.
So, in that regard, since we're talking about astrology today, I am feeling the Venus sextile Chiron right now because Chiron's in
Mm,
my
mm,
seventh house. It's also in your seventh house of
yeah,
relationships, and
yeah.
just having some realizations and revisiting some things. We're also in Mercury retrograde, so we all always like that comes up too. Everything for review and
Mm,
all the things. So I'm feeling that. And we'll get into that and all of
mm,
your chart because that's why we're here. Because
mm.
we had noticed that I had noticed that the last new moon that we just had in Leo is conjunct your natal sun, which is so beautiful. Oh my, for so many reasons, but um as we know, as we always like to have these talks, these chit chats around the new moon, because it's a time for new beginnings, and it all new moons always are, but usually and new moons hit at 0 degrees of that sign, so it's a critical point of that sign, which means it's the most purest point, the most amplified energy of that sign, whatever the characteristics of that sign are. For this,
Mm.
it's Leo, and that's your sun sign. Obviously, the
Yeah.
new moon was at 1 degrees, you're at 2 degrees for your sun, so we're sitting right next to each other. And Leo's all about leading with the heart, confidence, just standing in your light, main character energy, all of those things like confidence, and or did I say that already? So um and I mean there's beauty in just that and just amplifying that new beginning for you. And I know we've been talking about for our last couple chit chats about both of us feeling on this cusp of like some sort of shift on the edge of something new. So I feel like, oh, how appropriate is that for this energy we're in. And
Yeah, yeah.
I also want to note too, since we're kind of doing this like talk all around astrology, and I'm like learning this self-taught, like learning, I'm grateful for the people that brought astrology into my life, but it's something I'm really passionate about. And it's like we always say, the energies are there whether we believe in this or not, and it's something that we can use to work with to understand ourselves.
Mm,
And why is that important? Because understanding ourselves is how we are going to then relate to each other better. Have our life experiences will be richer and more grounded and more peaceful, I would say, if we understand who we are first and
mm,
then can
mm,
operate from that place. And it goes much deeper than that, but that's like just like the foundation of, I feel like, why astrology, like why I lean into that, because I want to understand my potential, the possibilities, why, it kind of makes life make sense. And if you look back on your chart, anyone, like you will probably find things that are like, oh my gosh, like literally that's what I did. And, or,
Mm,
oh, like I wanted to do that, but I didn't. So it holds the
mm,
potential. We have free will, of course, but there's so much there for us to learn about ourselves. And for me, it's just another perspective of who I am. And
mm,
I want to
mm.
share that with people. So I love
I
doing
love,
it.
I so love what you've just said there. I mean, there's a lot there, but the bits that I really pick up on is that actually, you say it a lot and it's so true. If we understand ourselves better, then we are showing up in the world in a different way and understanding and everything. And it helps our relationships and it helps the way that we interact with other people in so many ways. But for me as well, what I pick up on what you just said is that we understand ourselves better. And for me,
Hmm.
there's a little bit selfish, and I don't mean that in a bad way as it might seem. I'm interested in myself. I'm interested in what makes me tick. I'm interested in why I do what I do.
Hmm.
And that is a fascinating study that I think will be with me for the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
remember when I first started to seek therapy, it was because, and I remember saying to the first therapist I ever saw, and it was decades ago, um, I want to know why I do what I do. I had certain
Mm.
behavior patterns. I had certain things that I maybe wanted to change, and I wanted, but more than anything, I was interested in why. Why is that me? Why is that my personality? Why is that what I'm doing? So coming to this present day, and as I say, decades down the line, I'm still asking the same questions, aren't I? How often do I say to you, what's that all about and everything,
Yeah.
and then you bring in this wonderful planetary aspect and there are things going on that are happening all the time. And that sometimes is why we feel the way we feel and we do what we do. And I love that because, it's going to make me sound terribly vain, but it's all about me, because
Well,
I am, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? I don't know what it sounds like to you, but I am really, why wouldn't we all be fascinated about understanding ourselves better?
yeah,
Do you think,
I
that is
agree.
something, yeah, a little
And
bit about this is what we want, isn't it? So that we can sit more comfortably in our own skin with ourselves and understand, that's just what I do. Be kinder to ourselves. Go, that's what
yeah,
I do. That might be a planetary thing. That might be that. That's sort of where I'm coming from. Does that make sense to you,
it
Trish?
makes sense. Number one, you're a
Yeah.
Leo, so Leo's our main character, standing in the spotlight. So of course that's natural. And on the other hand, like too, I feel like yes, all of us, we don't have to be Leo to be main
No.
characters in our
Yeah.
lives. That's what we're
Yeah.
meant to be, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. But society has conditioned us,
I
socialized
yeah.
us to feel like we can't focus on
Yeah.
ourselves. You know why? Because that disempowers us. So that's a
Yes. Yeah.
whole nother topic, but there's so
Yeah.
many things like astrology that have been put on the fringe of society, made to be woo. And
Yeah.
yes, I always lean into the woo because there's wisdom there for us. And it's not,
Mm.
so dogmatic. It's just information about ourselves that can help us and support us.
Yeah.
And like when we're at our worst, it's because we're feeling lost and disconnected from
Mm.
ourselves. So,
Mm.
obviously, the opposite of that, of knowing ourselves, being connected to who we are, understanding who we are, being embodied in that truth, is how we're going to show up in the world better. I won't say like there's something wrong with us if we don't, but
No.
it's like
No.
that's who we were meant to be. That is the journey our soul came to take,
Yeah.
is to let it be expressed in its fullness. And
Yeah.
um, so that's why, like, we're talking about this, and I love that you said, like, you touched on a couple things that I found in your chart, and just the fact that you had gone to therapy a long time ago and had wanted to explore things about yourselves. So
Mm.
I just want to share some basics, and then I want to get into a specific area because I think it's so relevant for you right now. But like, so Nadine is, we've said Leo sun, and at 2 degrees. Let me get your chart here. And so I will look at notes because like I
Yeah.
don't have this all memorized.
No. No. Please
And
do.
it's in
Please
your
do.
11th house. And that is around your, oh yeah, community, social life, all of that. So that is how you sorry, your sun. So your sun is who you are, like I am energy. So in your 11th house, like you shine in places of community and gathering in social settings. You thrive off of that. And I see that in you. And then your, what else was I going to say? So your rising, which we've touched on before too, because we both have the same rising sign of Virgo, and that's at 21 degrees. It's your first house, and your first house is your identity. Um, and then your moon sign is Gemini, also my sun sign. Like we have a lot of, synastry there in our charts. Your moon sign is your emotional expression, your how you feel. And so yours is in Gemini. It's in your ninth house. The ninth house is higher education and learning, and also like a sense of like it's the house of religion too, but also spiritual, like how you I wrote it down. I can't. I'll come back to that, but not necessarily religion, but how you come to connect with your soul and to
Yes.
God in
Yeah.
a sense, like your path
Mm,
to God. So it
mm,
doesn't have to be religion. It can be,
mm,
that higher
mm,
consciousness.
mm.
So again, I'll reiterate, Leo sun, Virgo rising, Gemini moon. Um, Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury, which Mercury is the planet of communication. It's also in retrograde right now. So you may be feeling that more intensely. I know I am because
Mm.
I'm a double
Yes.
Mercury, Virgo and
Yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah.
But that also speaks to the work that you do and how you communicate,
Mm,
Mercury being the
mm.
planet of communication, and you share a lot and you communicate a lot of your being, of your life, of like that's how you express yourself
Yeah.
in various ways, a lot of that through like video communication like
Mm,
this
mm.
and all the other podcasts and videos you do, and the way you connect with people in person, especially recently.
Yes. Yeah.
So that um kind of speaks to that. Those are the three. Your sun, moon, and rising are the three ones like people usually look to kind of like connect. Oh, what are, like a lot of the times we've grew up with just like the sun sign, but the sun sign is only a part of who we are.
Yeah.
It's how
Yeah.
we see ourselves, but the rising
Yes. Yeah.
sign is how other people see you, how you present
Mm,
yourself, how other people see you navigating life. It's also how you navigate life, but other people see that. So,
mm,
and then again, the emotions is how you feel
mm.
everything. So let me know if you have any questions about that. But I wanted to focus on, as we're talking about, we were talking about doing this, and I was looking at your chart, and knowing that you just had your 60th birthday, and I'm
I
like
did.
thinking,
Yeah.
which is like, so beautiful in and of itself. It's like a new era is upon you, which
Mhm.
you said you've been sensing. And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
this energy. Immediately think of gold. Like it's just gold dust everywhere. Like that is you, something sparking new. And but then it got me thinking, she's just finished her Saturn return. And I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but
Not at
that's
all.
something that's
Not at
kind
all.
of become a little bit more mainstream because so all the planets transit like the sun, or the sorry, our Earth is like the transit. So they're aspects to Earth. So we are here on Earth feeling the aspects of the different planets as they make their way around the sun.
Right.
And
Right. Mm.
um Saturn is the planet of, well, number one, planet of karma, but planet of limitation, structure, limitations, and also your Saturn returns. So when a planet returns, it's returning, or when you have a return of a planet, Saturn return, it's returning to the position that it was in your chart the day that you, in time that you were born. So it
Ah, right.
happens
Okay.
every 27 to 29 and a half years, approximately. It can start a little bit earlier and end a little bit later. Like everything is energy. So you could start to be in that energy in your late months of being 26, or it's not
Yeah.
defined, science, time is
Yeah.
man-made. So but your Saturn return is usually a point of like, it's a challenge. It can be a challenging time, but also brings opportunities.
Mhm.
And for people going through their first Saturn return, which is around 28, 29, 27, 28, 29, maybe 30, is like kind of coming of age, like kind of a
Mm,
reckoning to like understand that now, okay, now it's I'm building my life. What do I like? How do I get on my path? It's kind of aligning you on your path. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable because there's
yes,
usually
yeah.
a lot of change and challenges. So I
Mm.
don't know if that resonates for you for your first
Do you
Saturn
know,
return.
it so does. When I think back to myself at that age, yeah, I was quite troubled and I was quite, there was a lot of things I wasn't sure about and not, everything. And just feeling that it makes sense that that was that time where I was um, yeah, trying to find myself. That's a bit of a
Hmm.
cliche, isn't it? But really going, what am I? Who am I? What am I doing with myself? I like to be really focused and I like to be, on a path. And you're right, at times I feel completely lost and that's uncomfortable. And that's something that I think, now I understand a bit more that that part of that feeling uncomfortable and going through that is I'm a little bit optimistic now that I understand that's leading to something usually quite good. But
Hmm.
looking back quite a while ago, um, I wasn't ever comfortable. I didn't like that feeling at all. But I
Hmm.
can remember it. I can really, and one of the reasons why I was seeking therapy and trying to find out and trying to learn and being interested in the what we call the woo-woo stuff, going, there's got to be more out there. There's got to be something that why I'm not understanding it, and
Yeah.
trying to find and talking to people like yourself and actually getting a better understanding of what else is going on, what factors influence the way I behave and the way that I am, and it fascinates me, it really does. And what you're saying now, you're right, I've come to that point, yes, I've just had my 60th birthday and it's wonderful, celebration. But leading up to that, I have, with the last year or so, I've been through some challenges, to put it mildly, but felt a little bit lost, lost my direction, lost my path and everything. And then feeling that that is sort of okay. It's
Hmm.
going to be that way, isn't it? Those whole cycles of going round and everything, and having a bit more built up now, a bit more trust in the fact that I will get back on track, if you like, and everything happens for a reason, that kind of thing. And I've got to be honest with you, I'm grateful for the age that I have become in more ways than one, but also because I have that, I look back to maybe when I was 27, 28, and I didn't get that. I was very impatient. I was very much like, I thought I'd have my life sorted out by then. Well, now I know that I'm still learning and maybe will be forever.
Yeah.
But I do, I've got more confidence. I've got more
Mm.
patience, if you like. I still could do a bit more of that. But um, it's really lovely to be that bit older and I'm hesitant to say wiser, but a bit more understanding and that kind of thing, um, because it is a blessing, isn't it?
It
As we
is.
age, as we grow, like you say, we're healing, we're doing this work, and sometimes it's painful and sometimes it's hard. And how many times I've said, "Oh, really, have I got to learn that lesson again? But I
Hmm.
do understand that yes, it's beneficial and looking back to, comparing that maybe when I was 27, 28 years old, that kind of time, I thought I didn't know that this was going to continue. I thought, why haven't I got it right now? Why don't I know what I'm doing? I thought I had to be a grown up and everything. Now I'm not even seeking that. I'm just going, let's carry on learning. Let's carry on
Yeah,
experiencing and everything. So that's kind of a relief, if that makes any sense, just to
it
go,
does.
it's okay. The older I get, yes, I'm learning things, I'm forgetting things as well. But being more like I said, being more comfortable in my place in this world, in this planet, understanding my personality much more and knowing why I do what I do. I do feel that I have got a better understanding. And I love it when you say, the bits about my, my chart, if you like. And I go, oh yeah, you're right. And then I'm going like, how does she know? It's that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I'm actually amazed, but I do get it. That's
Hmm.
there. That is what I am. I am a Leo. I have got the sun. I have got, like you say, Gemini in the moon. I can't remember how you said it exactly, but I'm going like, yeah, she's right. She's right. She's right. And I love
Yeah.
that. I love
Aw.
that because also it makes me not feel alone. I go like, it's not
Hmm.
it's not me messing it up. This is the way it's
No,
meant to be, you know. So
it makes
I
it
love
make
I love
sense.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does, doesn't
That's
it?
why
So
I love it.
yeah, we love it too. So yeah,
I
it's great.
and just the Saturn return aspect, your seconds. So like that's what I was thinking about. Like you had just come through the second Saturn return,
Mm,
and we know we've been talking about what you've been going through these last couple years. So I hope it's okay if we continue to talk about that in
of
this
course,
context
yeah,
because it's like wow. So your Saturn is in Pisces at 16 degrees Pisces, which hits your sixth house, and the sixth house is the house of health and
yeah.
service. So
Oh,
how I'm just
lovely.
getting chills right now because look at
Yeah,
everything you've been through. For
yeah,
those of you that don't know, Nadine's been through a breast cancer experience
yeah,
and
yeah,
has shared her experience publicly and helping others do others heal through their own experience and supporting
yeah.
them through their experience. So you've taken, yours and the learnings through all of that. And
Mm,
I just feel like this is so like I was just like blown away when I saw that it was your sixth house that
yeah,
your
yeah,
Saturn is in. That's where your return is happening because you literally have gone through this health experience or experience around your own personal health and then expressed that healing through service and service to
yeah,
others. And
yeah.
that is like it's just so beautiful. I don't know, like if that, like I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know it the way that you've just said it. I didn't know it. It's what I've been doing naturally. You know, it's what I've been doing. And again, this is the way I go, okay, why have I done that? Why is that how I've chosen to deal with this? You know, but it sort of, it makes sense to me. Why wouldn't I?
Hmm.
And that's what I've done naturally. And it is a little bit about, you know, I am much more going with the flow and doing that, which is easier for a start.
Hmm.
But it's lovely when you say, oh, that's why. And I go, oh yeah, it makes more sense. And I go,
Yeah.
yeah, because everyone chooses a different way to deal with what life throws at them, doesn't it? And this is what I've chosen to do. And it does make perfect sense. And it just makes me go like, it makes it easier, if you know what I mean. It's that kind of, um, just to go, oh yeah, that's why I've done what I've done. It's almost like giving me permission to carry on
It.
and to hear, like you say, oh, this is what it was meant to be. It does give
Hmm.
me chills too. I go, oh, it's really special, isn't it? You know, why wouldn't I do it that way? So yeah.
And I feel like, and what struck me too when I realized this was that you had said some things like throughout the process about like, you've done lots of work on yourself and all of that, but like, and why am I going through this again? Or what is this? What am I here to learn about? Like, what is this here to teach me kind of thing?
Mm,
And I feel like that second Saturn return that we go through is that chance to kind of go back and reconcile like whatever lessons we didn't get the first
yeah,
time
yeah.
because
Mm,
these are points of awakening, opportunities of awakening for us,
mm,
and
mm,
we can either lean into that and let it like and go with the flow, or we can try to run away from it, but it's always going to catch up with us in different forms or the same
mm,
form
yeah.
and different body, whatever. So the fact that you had gone through this experience, like you faced one of your biggest fears and
Mm,
you moved through that, and through that,
mm,
like that is the transformation. That is like you accepted that, as uncomfortable as it was, you accepted that offer, that invitation. And that is like why we talk about what we talk about all the, like what is it yes, it's not fun to be in that space, but like how different is your life now because you allowed yourself to
yeah,
go there?
yeah. And that's exactly what it is, isn't it? You know, you
Hmm.
could say I didn't have a lot of choice, but I did. But like you say, the acceptance and the actual going with it, and I gave myself up to the process, if you like, you know, and I'm glad I did because it made it easier. It wasn't me fighting all the way and doing the why me and that kind of thing, you know. It was about, okay, this is what it is, this is the reality. Go with it, trust the universe, trust the process, trust all the wonderful people in my life that support me, you know,
Hmm.
and that does make it easier. And that I hope that people have got that message because, like you say, I've shared a lot of this, and my feeling now, and I think even at the start was to go, you know, this is an experience that I'm going through, and if it can help other people, that's what I want. So,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely that is the way that I'm tailoring it, if you like. But it's so lovely to know that that maybe was meant to be for me, you know, just to go, because you do question all the time, don't you? I said I didn't do the why me, but there was a bit of, what am I going to learn? Like you say, what is the lesson
Mm-hmm.
here? What am I meant to? I've said it to you many times personally, haven't I? What is this? I thought I had learned a lot of lessons. I maybe thought I'd learned enough, but it wasn't that, was it? It's here we go again. Something's
Mm-hmm.
resurfacing. You've said it to me, and I love the way that you say it. You know, it's coming back when you're listening in a different way, when you're in a different place to actually respond to it. You know, and I
Mm-hmm.
really get that now. I didn't get that before. It's almost like it's coming back again because you're in a different place and you're going to do something different with that. You know, and move on in a different way. And this constant, you know, we are moving forward all the time, aren't we? And
Yeah.
nothing stands up. Much as sometimes I want to just go, stop, 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 I'm done. You know, I'm not done. I'm really not done. And although there are times when I do want it to be done, I really don't, because maybe that's the end, isn't it? I don't know. We're never
Mm-hmm.
going to stop learning. We're never going to stop having experiences. Maybe never going to stop having the uncomfortableness of it all. But that's okay. And I am, like you say, I faced some of my biggest fears. You know, I think all of them, the three big ones that I was so scared of: dying, cancer, chemotherapy, losing my hair. I faced all of those, and I go, oh wow, you know, still here, still here, it's
Yeah.
okay.
You're still
And I'm
here.
yeah, still yeah. And I've said that a lot recently. You know, I've
Yeah.
turned 60 and it's like, I've got here. Woohoo! You know, that's a celebration, isn't it? Because some people aren't lucky enough to get to this age. I didn't know if I was going to actually get here. But it's wonderful to be able to sit here, go, you know, with all the, I'm going to say something rude, with all the shit that's going on, with all that stuff, you know, we can still be here, show up. You know, I've still got the vitality and the life. I've still got a future, you know, and I do feel very, very grateful for that. So to get it said, like you're saying, you know, this was maybe meant to be. You can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but you can go, this makes sense, if you know what I mean. And I can make some sense of it now and go, okay, yeah, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's a horrible period that I've been through recently, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. You know, I am
Yeah.
okay, and that's wonderful. So again, to get that message, I don't want to be eternally optimistic for people, because that's not really real true life, is it? But if there is a little bit, people can take a little bit of hope from that, then that's
Mm-hmm.
that's good, isn't it? And that's one of the reasons, as you know, why we both share. But
Yeah.
also, my main thing is, as I say, that you know, we don't have to be scared all the time. And I spent a lot of my youth being very, very scared. And you know, I am getting more confident and bolder now, and I think that's a blessing that comes with age, doesn't it? You know, we can go, okay, I'm not saying I never feel scared, because of course I do, you know, nervous, anxious, upset, all those, get all those
Mm-hmm.
feelings, more maybe than I ever did, because I let myself feel them. But I know I'll get through them, and I know it's going to be okay. So that's the kind of way that I feel the aging process is quite wonderful, isn't it? Because you do get that kind of understanding, and you know, so I do feel that, you know, as I say, grateful to be at this point in my life. And it's lovely when you can reflect it and go, oh, your chart says so, you know, wonderful.
Yeah. And I feel like too, there's the other aspect. Well, I just, first of all, appreciate everything you just said. And I did want to, before I move on, say one thing about like, because you mentioned like with everything else like going on in the world, and you're here and you're, you know,
Mm,
I think it's okay, like, because a lot of times we're like looking at, yeah, what's going on in the world, and like we're here and we're blessed and all of that. But what we can do about that is to take care of ourselves and our inner
mm,
world, because all of that work that we do has a ripple effect out into the collective. And we we might feel helpless about whatever's happening, and we can't do anything. It's thousands of miles away or whatever it is for us, and we might feel outrage and all that. But I
yeah.
invite
Mm,
people to take that energy and focus on how they can explore their inner world and the parts of themselves that they have not, that they've been avoiding. And we all have that. We all have done. I know myself, I've avoided parts of myself because yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I've let go of that being afraid of the discomfort, and just,
yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to maximize the time that I'm here. So part
Mm,
of that
mm,
is
mm,
doing, like, reconnecting with my soul, with our soul, like for all of us to do that. And that's,
mm,
in whatever
mm,
way resonates for you. It might not be this, or it might be
Yeah,
this in a combination of
yeah.
things.
And I think it's so true that you say it, because we are in a scary world at the moment, aren't we? It is uncomfortable, and a
Hmm.
lot of people are living in fear, and it's understandable. And I feel that that is, we can choose again how we deal with that, how we let that affect us. And I think a lot of people wouldn't think, oh, look after yourself, tune into yourself more and everything. That's a way of handling this. That's a way of maybe making this better, if you like,
Hmm.
because a lot of people are going, what can I do? What can I do? And feeling helpless. But it's lovely that you've just said that, focus on yourself, do your own work, if you like, however you want to look at it. I don't really like to call it work that much anymore, because I think it doesn't have to be hard. And it doesn't have to be something a bit like, just go with it. You've said it all the
Hmm.
time. Lean into it, go with it, accept things. I've learned that as well. That it doesn't have to be so hard. The hard bit
Yeah.
is resisting it, actually, which I've spent a lot of time doing. So going with it is sometimes easier, and that's what I feel now. So it is, we can't do anything about the big picture maybe, but we can do something about our own, like you say, our inner world, our own selves, and our own, and that will have faith and trust that will have that ripple effect, and will make the
Hmm.
world a better place, because there's a lot of people that really want to, heal the world, if you like, and that's massive. But it starts with us, doesn't it? It starts with one
It
little
does
step,
start with us.
and
It
and our,
does.
and ourselves, and that is so beautiful to know that we can be doing what we're doing for ourselves, but that will be helping. And that might, some people might go, oh yeah, whatever. But it is, what can we do? What else can we
Yeah.
do? It's looking after number one, isn't it? And
Hmm.
actually, and knowing that that does help. So
Yeah.
we got
Got
someone
a
just
couple
joined us.
people have
Hello,
joined.
hello, who's
Hi.
joined us? If you've got any questions, please join
Um,
in. Yeah,
and yeah, I love that you said it starts with us, because I always say like peace begins with me. Like like it begins
yeah,
with us. Like it has
yeah,
to start with us first.
yeah.
But I want to dive a little bit deeper on your Saturn return, because
Mm,
there was just one level, because I said it was in Pisces, but I didn't touch on the Pisces influence on your
mm,
Saturn return, only that it's in your sixth house, which was this house of health and service. But also Pisces is the sign of meditation, spirituality, healers, like all of that energy. So I find it so interesting that this is
mm,
your, that this is your placement, because that's the work that you do. That's how you
mm,
do the service, is helping
mm,
people heal. Like you've healed yourself, but you're helping
mm,
others heal. And then just that you've come through this second Saturn return and feeling on this cusp of something new, like how has your work evolved? We know how it's evolved into helping
mm,
specifically people who are experiencing cancer, having a cancer experience right now. So I feel like all of that is so interesting, that it's so that all the details are checked or hit or whatever for
yeah.
you, and in the work that you're doing, and how it
Isn't,
just kind of like
isn't
makes
it
all of
though?
that make sense.
and
Yeah.
and that is where you get the chills, isn't it? You go, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's what you're doing anyway. And I'd just like to pick up on a point there, just so people understand as well. Yes, we are healing in a way, but I don't want people to get confused with the curing. I'm
Right.
not, I'm actually, I'm in a very privileged position. I've been through my treatment, nearly at the end. I've only got a few little more things to go. And I'm feeling great. I'm not saying I'm over everything, because I don't think that's ever the case, but um, for people to go, I'm not going to heal you of things, especially cancer,
No.
but it's actually, it's well, not cure. The healing comes within being comfortable with yourself. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
feel. And I want people to understand that. So whatever your prognosis is, whatever's going on, we can sit in peace and comfort and ease with ourselves. And that's the way I look at healing now. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually going, and I used to look at it differently. I used to think, oh, healing is curing. And I understand that in a different way now. So I just wanted to pick up on that point to go, that actually whatever we do day to day, and Trish, and I think a lot of people, because I
Mm-hmm.
shared it at the time, when I was right in the middle of my treatment, when I felt really, really rotten, I could still find some place of peace. I could still
Mm-hmm.
find a little bit of healing to go with that, because it's little steps, isn't it? And it's not the big cure all. It is actually just being comfortable with where you're at in that moment and finding that kind of peace and serenity even with it. And
Right.
definitely what's been big for me is that acceptance. You know, these life will throw things at you, and it's how you react to it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And actually going, you know, I'm going through something I never dreamed I would be going through, and it's horrible and it's out of my control. But there's a little bit something I can do right here, right now, that will make me feel a little bit more in control and a little bit more empowered. And those are the kinds of things that I've learnt.
Mm-hmm.
And it is how we do, and you know yourself, and you've got it in your wonderful book, which is why we do these chit chats. You know how at your deepest depths of despair, you have found a way of being comfortable with yourself and
Mm-hmm.
making sense of it all and actually having that little bit of healing within that feeling, haven't you? So
Yeah.
I hope people understand what I'm trying to say here, because it is about the when we say the word healing, it is about, I'd like to say, being more comfortable. Would you tend to agree, or
Yeah,
do
and
you see
I
it in a different
yeah,
way?
I'm glad you brought that up about we're not talking about curing anything,
Mm, mm,
and the healer aspect of Pisces and just healing in general, um, and the work that you do, the work that I do to support other
mm,
people in their healing is
yeah,
not like we're waving a magic wand and
exactly. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
sitting with them, walking with them through the discomfort and allowing them, or
mm, mm.
we can all do that on our own if we want to, but sometimes we need, it's good to have somebody to support you to do that
I
because
would, yeah, yeah,
somebody else can see things you can't. You can see the gaps
mm,
there. And
mm,
also, sometimes, yeah, you need somebody to support you in that. You need to be
mm,
held in that space because
yeah,
it is uncomfortable. So it's more so that we're helping activate the healing within yourself that
yes,
you
yeah,
can. And again, it's not a cure. It's a way of coming to a sense of
mm,
peace. Like you
mm,
said, even on the
exactly,
worst
yeah,
days, you were able to find something. And we're not talking about toxic positivity where you're glossing
no,
over and trying to make everything all positive. It's like saying, yes, this is where I'm at right now and I'm okay with it and I can
yeah,
be at
yeah,
peace in this moment and
yeah,
with that. And
yeah.
it may get disrupted in the next second or whatever, but it's like it's being able to face what you're going through and the discomfort of it. Because and I always think of this quote is from Rumi. The cure for the pain is in the pain. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's like
yeah,
so it's not running away from it, it's going
yeah,
into it and getting the
yeah,
wisdom, getting the lesson, getting the understanding,
mm,
and then
mm,
coming out stronger and growing and
yeah,
healing in that
yeah.
aspect.
Mm. And I love that, because it is, you know, we do tend to try and get away from the pain, don't we, and the things that
Hmm.
are uncomfortable, and to actually have that courage, if you like, or to practice it, because it is a practice, isn't it? We'll sit with that difficult feeling, and like you say, it's so helpful to have someone else to hold that space with you,
Hmm.
because that is, we do it for each other, don't we? We do it for our clients, you know, and it's wonderful to be able to do that. And it is, you don't have to do it alone. That's the other thing, isn't it? It's lovely if you can reach out and get some help, because that is healing in itself, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
so I really feel, and it is that lean into it. The you know, if you are, sit with that pain, sit with that difficulty, that feeling, you know, and just go with it. And then you do find it changes. It will leave. It will move on, you know. And I always say one of the things that I help people with is called tapping, emotional freedom technique. And we
Hmm.
always start off with the negative, if you like. So we go deeper into those feelings that are uncomfortable. We start that way, and then we move through it. And it is a process that is wonderful. It can work really well. But the tendency, and I know this is how I used to be, and a lot of people will give you a big hug and go, there, you'll feel better, you know, it'll be all right.
Hmm.
And that's skipping it, isn't it? That's trying to go to, I used to say, well, I just want to go to the happy. But that
Yeah.
isn't, I have learned that that isn't what it's about. It's like, yeah, go with the horrible feelings and everything. And the happy does come, you know. But it's not the way I thought it was. It's a completely different way of doing things. So the fact that we can both support people, and there are loads of people out there that can support, you know, asking for help, you know, it's something we've talked about before as well, isn't it? You know, but sharing that with someone is so beneficial, isn't it? And that's healing in itself, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I feel as well, and I don't want to cut you short if there's more of my chart that you want to talk about, but this again is another area that maybe people haven't known about you. You know, how you talk about the planets and what goes on, and you can work out a personal chart for people. That again, you know, I'm loving hearing what you're saying to me, you know, because it really hits home, and it's helping me understand. It's helping me get the answers to something I asked decades ago when I first started therapy. You know,
Hmm.
why do I do what I do? What's that all about? And everything. And it is that in itself is quite healing, isn't it? To go, well, this is how it's meant to be. This is what it is.
Yeah,
Don't need to fight it. Don't need to run away from it. Go with it, and it all works itself out because it is meant to be. And I
right.
love that, accepting it and going with it. So this is something I know that, you know, I know you're really good at it, and I love it. But for other people to actually go, you know, could you do that for someone else? Could you do a
Oh
personal
yeah,
thing for
that's, I
someone?
mean,
Yeah,
that's what I want to be doing. I mean,
yeah,
and
yeah.
even we talked about like doing this podcast, this chit
Mhm.
chat on this topic. Like that's
Yeah,
also what I, had set out to do and kind of put that on
yeah,
the back burner. But I feel like this is, a time of reigniting those passions, that Leo energy, main character energy, and
yeah.
invitation for myself personally to step into the things and
Mm,
manifest what I wanted to, what my dreams, like where I want to go
yeah,
next. And those,
yeah,
kind of have changed somewhat, but or maybe the way that I want to do them. But yeah, like I feel like this is yeah, something I want to continue to explore and offer people because it's helped me so much in
yeah.
understanding myself and been a huge part of my own healing. And
Mm, mm.
like you said, sometimes like you look back and you're like, yeah, it was supposed to, it was all laid out there. Like it, so I'm
Yeah,
not like crazy, or I'm not like there's not anything wrong with me, or those things that those thoughts we have that sometimes when things don't go the way we wanted them to, because there's a bigger plan that we can't see.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And that sometimes is quite hard, isn't it? We go, that isn't what I wanted. This is happening. Why is that happening? And then if you step back and just let it be, then you can see it, can't you? And I do. So
Yeah.
I do feel that would be lovely, wouldn't it, for people if they want to go, you know, could you tell me a bit more about my personal chart and everything? We started these chit chats off the back of me reading your book, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was all about like, I've got questions. I want to ask you questions. Let's do this publicly because other people must have questions too. And it has developed into every month doing it around the new moon, and you talking
Yeah.
about the energy of the planets and everything. So you're doing it anyway. It has sort of
Yeah.
evolved that way, hasn't it? And I love that, you know, you can do that a bit more, can't you? You know, maybe
Yeah.
do a separate kind of recording or something. You know, you've said about this is quite, we're going quite deep with what we're talking about today. And I know we don't want to make these too long,
Hmm.
but maybe we could do a part two or do something a bit more privately that we put out publicly later, you know. We're open to ideas and options. So if anyone's got any comments or what they want to see more of or anything, then please do ask us because we are going with the flow, aren't we? Both of us, you know, what
Yeah.
develops will develop. Things are changing all the time. So it's quite exciting, isn't it, to think this is another aspect. It's led on from what we started doing. And remind me how many years we've been doing this now? It's over
Oh my
2
God. It's
years.
like, I think it's 4.
It could be, couldn't it? We've been
It's
doing
almost
this a long
4.
time.
Yeah.
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 Almost,
And
it's
if you
going on 4 years.
Yeah,
Three
and
and a half.
if you look back at early ones, you know, you'll see that I come with questions, don't I? I've read a bit of your book, I've got a question, but and we've sort of made that format a little bit more relaxed, haven't we? We talk about all sorts of things, so and we talk about what other people want us to talk about as well. So
Yeah.
we're open to that, aren't we? We're in that flow of going with it at the moment. So I love that, and I just love you sort of doing my personal chart. It feels so special, and it makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. There is
Mm.
more I want to say, that's so connected to, yeah. So I don't know if you want me to share that, if we want to do a part
Do
2. Or,
you can do a bit more now if you like. We don't have to cut
okay.
it short. So yeah, please do.
So one of the other things that I look at, because we talk about healing so much, and that's a big part of like our work in general anyways, and
Mm,
um is the Chiron placement. Chiron is the wounded healer,
mm,
and
mm,
everyone has one. It depends on when you were born, where. So for anyone born, I think it's between 54 and 67, 1954 and 67. That's Pisces, Chiron and Pisces. For me, anyone born in 1967 to 19, sorry, 1968 to 1977.
Mm-hmm.
would have Chiron in Aries, and Chiron is in Aries right now. So a lot of people like Gen Xers are talking about healing and all of that. But I want to focus on yours. Um, but I feel like that's prevalent because the Gen Xers are the generation that just like we survived, and now
Mm.
we're kind of realizing that, oh, I went through some shit. I need to like, and so a lot of people are either escaping that still or have been working on it. And that is the invitation. And there's no judgment in that. Everyone has their own path and everyone will find their path in due time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's everything is divinely timed, I believe. But for yours, so your Chiron is in Pisces. Um, where did I write that down? Just give me a second because I have multiple. It's in, oh yeah, and it's in the seventh house. Um, I think it's at 22 degrees. Let me look at your chart. Yes, 22 degrees of Pisces, which is interesting. 22 is a special number. But the fact that it's in the seventh house, which is the seventh house is the house of relationships and partnerships, but could also be um, uh, like family relationships too, because with the Chiron in Pisces, it speaks to like deep-seated wounds in maybe family dynamics, um, where maybe boundaries have been an issue. You may be, and this because it's in the seventh house, and so it's interesting because as I'm reading yours, I'm like, well, Chiron is also in the seventh house, so a lot of this is
Yeah.
relevant too, and I'll speak to the difference in a second. But
Mm.
so the Pisces aspect of it is that that the family dynamic piece is a part of it versus which could be more so than romantic relationships, I think, and but you may, as we know, sometimes we seek what we know in partners, so you may be attracted to wounded partners. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that resonates or not,
Yeah. It
but
does.
it's like when we can work through or understand those lessons that like we I guess glean through these relationships that we have, then we
Mm.
again come to understand ourselves better.
Mm.
So, and those pain points in those relationships is actually where like the gold is, where the
Yeah.
wisdom is. So where you can understand yourself better and then move forward in a different way. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
It so does, and there's a bit of me going, "Oh, really?" Yeah, but it's true, isn't it? It's like, yes, it's going. It's again, it's questioning all the time, isn't it? Going, what am I learning from this? Why is this happening? What can I move forward on? Like, why is this happening again? Kind of thing. And I do go, oh, really? I do think, do I really need to learn more? But I do all the time, and it's so beneficial when I do realise that that's what this is all about. It's another opportunity to listen, accept, learn, grow. Then I go, oh, that's good. Whereas I used to be like everything that happens is bad and I don't want it. It's that kind of thing. So I really love the fact that it is, like you say, relationships and how we react to things and boundaries and that kind of thing. I'm still learning. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to find my way of doing things. I haven't got it right. I maybe never will, and that doesn't matter. But I'm trying it a different way because I'm a different person now. So my
Mm-hmm.
reaction to things is different. Well, actually, no, I'll correct that. My initial reaction sometimes is the same as it was when I was 3 years old, but I can choose and I can
Choose.
change that.
Yes.
Yeah, with my knowledge and with my understanding and with the leaning into it that I've learnt so much from you about, I can
Mm-hmm.
go about it a different way. But as I say, my gut reaction is still a
Well,
toddler with a tantrum.
and you know what? That's okay. I feel like as we move through that and allow ourselves to be there, the gap between our initial reaction and like our choice
Yeah,
is smaller and smaller, and then it just
yeah,
becomes your natural reaction. So,
yes,
and
I
if we
feel that.
just
I really
kind
do
of
feel that.
stay away from beating ourselves up around that, because
Yeah,
I know I can
yeah,
go there too.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It's
but
okay. Yeah, it's okay
uh,
to be like that, isn't it? That's
yeah,
that's me.
And I want to say too, when I was talking about the Chiron placement and the years of like whether you're in Pisces, your placement is in Pisces or Aries, there's also how it will impact your life is
Mm,
determined by the house that it sits in. So
right.
for us, Chiron sits for both of us in our seventh house. So we both like will experience our wounds through relationships, but also then the healing of those wounds comes through relationships. So it's like it's interesting.
Mm,
So for me personally,
mm,
and like I said, there was a difference because I'm experiencing, or my placement is Chiron and Aries, and yours is Chiron and Pisces. So um that healing for you is like there's a lot. Pisces is like that spiritual
mm.
unseen energy kind of like force, meditation, all that. Look at the way that you have and okay, it's probably not fair because I know the work that you do, but how you have healed yourself and then taken that format and applied it to other people
Yeah.
through your gentle questioning
Yes.
and
Yes.
the calmer self method and all
Mm,
of these
mm.
things. So again, I'm getting chills because this
It's
is like
it's
so powerful.
it's almost quite magical, isn't it? To go,
Yeah.
that's how this happened. And I love that because there's me sitting there thinking I worked all this out and I did it. But it was given to me maybe, wasn't it?
Hmm.
It was meant for me to be. I thought I created it. I thought it was all my doing and everything. And it
Well,
wasn't. But I love the fact that it's bigger than me.
it
It's
it
meant to be and it's the
it's
right, because
meant to
also
be.
yeah, and it tells me as well that I'm on the right track. And I
You
love that.
are. You
Yeah,
are.
I love that because that's confirmation, isn't it? And that's I'm big on a bit of recognition and just going, oh yeah, tick a box. You're doing the right thing. I love that because that's support, isn't it? And I go, yeah, this is good. And almost like when I have my moments, my wobbles, if you like, then I go, no, I am on the right track. I am doing the right thing for me. But
Yeah.
it's also okay to go with the change and flow and change my mind and everything. Keep open to that as well because we do that all the time. We evolve, don't we? So I love that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, isn't it? All the meditation, all the things that I resisted and fought
Yep.
against, they are my life now, and they're what I do for other people as well. So it's lovely to know that that was maybe there for me all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of like there's so much potential that maybe you haven't tapped into yet. And I don't know that yet.
Mhm.
Like we still need to like there's lots more to explore in your chart, but I feel like yeah, like that that's just so like I just love how it makes things make sense and like
Mm,
connects the
mm.
dots, so to speak.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and how like and just beautiful that you're like helping other people with like through your own experience,
mm.
and I think that's beautiful.
Thank
um
thank you for that.
and
Yeah.
like so I said the house or the yeah the house it hits and um determines what area of your life, any planet, but we're specifically talking about Chiron, the wounded healer, our wounds. And so like back to yours being in Pisces, mine is so yeah, we both have the same house but different signs. So Aries is the sign of I am, like I identity, self identity, all that. So for my wound, it's again with relationships and more romantic partnerships,
Mm, mm.
but my sense of self within those and not losing my sense of self within those. And then
Yeah,
for healing
yeah.
that again, coming back to finding a balance between that interdependence and independence
Mm, mm.
and not so it's like it's interesting that like just a little tweak of a sign, like the aspects and the energies around that. And for me that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I mean I wrote my whole book about it was based upon having heartbreak and awakening
Mm,
around that and
mm.
what that led to, and then healing myself, and then trying to find a balance again, like I between choosing myself and loving myself in relationship, and also allowing myself to receive what I give,
Yes, yeah,
and
yeah.
being and knowing that I'm worthy of that. And
That's
yeah,
big, isn't it?
I,
That is
I,
big. That No,
we're
but
not
that's
making this
true.
about me, but that's
No, but it is,
and
isn't it? Yeah,
and
sharing what we are going through is actually because other people can relate, can't they? So much so,
other
and
yeah.
Yeah, and your whole
And
book is that people can relate to what you're talking about there. It is your story, but
mhm,
people that read it go, "Oh yeah, I feel like that too," and
there's
they get something from that. Yeah,
and there's parallels around, I'm sure parallels people can draw to their own lives and their own experiences. That's why I wrote the book, like from my perspective, because that's what I have. But I know people have told me, like, I saw myself in your words or
yeah,
in your
mm,
poetry, or
yeah,
all of that. And it's interesting, like, I think we can, we're going to have to do a part two of this, but I want to say it's
we
interesting
are.
that Chiron has been a focus at the end of our conversation, because Chiron goes retrograde, on Wednesday. And so we might
Mm,
be feeling this intensity around like wounds coming up. And I think that's why I had my little emotional,
mm,
thing before we started this call, which I'm glad that we
bless you.
did.
Listening, yeah.
And grateful for that space to do that. But I'm so excited to like to continue to talk about your chart,
Mm,
because I know there's other things we didn't get to touch on, but the time is it's
yeah.
yeah. Maybe we can do a part two on this. What do you think?
Do you know what? I'm getting a tickle in my throat.
Oh
I
no,
think this is the
that's a
universe
sign.
telling me, isn't it? Isn't it? It's oh, this is this
Okay,
is this is woo woo, isn't it? That
this is
it's like,
woo.
oh, this is
That's
like
it.
stop now, stop now.
So,
So yeah,
um,
let's wrap it up. Where can everyone find what you do and your wonderful books and everything? Where's the best place to go from there?
this is trishcampbell.com, or this is Trish Campbell on Instagram where you're watching this. Very active here. And yeah, where can people find you and all the lovely work you do?
I always like to point people at my YouTube channel. All of these chit chats go on there, and there's so much more, and you can find out more
Hmm.
about me and why I do what I do and everything. And that's Karma Self Coach. So, like you said, my Karma Self Method, Karma Self Coach. So that's the best place to find me, and then you get links to everything else there. So that's where it is, and these chit chats go on there as well as on our Instagram, don't they? So
Yes, yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. So
And
it's been great. I've loved this so much. It's been
yeah, me
wonderful,
too.
special. So people can get the same from you, can't they? Which is wonderful.
Yes, yeah,
And I love that. And I'm so grateful that you're doing all this and helping me in this way. So thank you.
yeah. Thank you as well, Nadine. And thanks to everyone who joined us. And if you watch the replay, yeah, drop us a comment and let us know what you think.
Yes,
And if you have any
definitely.
questions for next time. So, yeah, until next time, be well.